Deadpool and Wolverine at the midnight showing, and I know we're not there yet. I know y'all not ready to talk. I'm kind of not even ready to talk, but I kind of am ready to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine because, yeah, no spoilers. I thought it was all right. I thought it was all right. I'm probably not the target audience for Deadpool. This is the third one, and I just kind of feel like there's only so many homoerotic jokes we're gonna make. And the appeal of this one was not only the jokes from him, but seeing Hugh Jackman say fuck in pretty much every scene he was in. The cameos were amazing. I'm not even gonna say who was in there. If you don't know, you don't know. Cameos were fucking amazing. Timing amazing. The pacing of the movie was off to me. It was very slow. And also, nothing happened. I'm willing to go see it again, probably because I think maybe I'm judging from a harsh standpoint, but they needed to do a lot with that movie to make it worth being that movie, and I don't think they did it. Me personally. That's me personally. But I see it as kind of, I think maybe, I don't know. Why did I stare like that? I don't know. I see it as kind of like a good book into the Fox Marvel universe. Like, that's been around for 20 years, 20 plus years, right? There were some duds, a lot of them. But there were some good moments, you know, as they eased them into the MCU. Oh, we also got to talk about that shit. As they eased the Marvel mutants into the MCU, it's a lot. It's a lot. I think Kevin Feige can't do it all by himself. I think there has to be smaller teams within the overall MCU, because it's just a lot to manage, dog. You got all your Avengers stuff from them characters that ain't going nowhere. Now you got the X-Men, and ain't no telling what's gonna hit from the X-Men. Hell, this time with the X-Men, Shadowcat could be the breakout star of the X-Men, and Shadowcat could be the one that could get her own trilogy. X-Men Origins Shadowcat. We could get that this time around. You about to bring the Fantastic Four, Galactus, and Silver Surfer in there, so we about to have this whole cosmic thing going again. And then what about X-Force, Generation X, Excalibur, Rogue and Gambit spin-off movies? I just think that Kevin Feige gotta be under the overall direction of the MCU. If you want to say, hey, we're gonna do this arc, that's what we're gonna do. But you gotta have smaller, controlled, creative teams to just have the ability to like do an X-Men only crossover event, or, you know, some kind of plot that involve all of them. Some kind of plot that involve all the witches. And I don't know if he can do it himself, because they sure have not done a lot a lot of things of note since Endgame. I mean, Guardians 3, No Way Home. That's pretty much it. Everything else didn't hit. And Deadpool. Those are the only 3 that hit. Those are the only 3 that hit. So Thumbtack, I know what they're saying is like, even with the Avengers stuff, everybody ain't gonna be in it. So I think that'll help, right? Because the movies will be fucking huge, bro. So now let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Unpopular opinion. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. should be coming back as Doctor Doom. The decision reeks of disparity. It reeks of, come on, daddy, please, just one more time. We need the Robert Downey Jr. machine in order to make all this go. Do we? Do we? Now, don't get me wrong, Robert Downey Jr. 100,000 million %. When it come down to this Marvel shit, if it wasn't for him and Iron Man, that shit would not have hit. I remember it. I get it. I remember it. Like, I vividly remember being taken to the movies. I vividly remember being sitting there after the after credits. I vividly remember being like, damn, I never fucking cared about Iron Man ever before, but that sure was good. If they can do more of this, they got something on their hands. And 15 years later, they culminated that story. Let that shit go, bruh. Let it go. I don't fucking know, man. I don't fucking know. Like, what is it that he is supposed to bring to Doctor Doom? Like, that's the thing that is actually pissing me off right now when I think about it, because they had an opportunity to make a star turning casting with Doctor Doom. We could have had Coleman Domingo as, never mind. And I'm just saying Coleman Domingo just because Coleman Domingo was out there as a replacement for damn, I forgot the nigga name, Kang. I ain't even gonna be of the mindset, oh, he gotta be Romany in order for it to make sense. If y'all decide that, that's fine. But it could have, should have been somebody else, bro. It could have, should have been somebody else. Like, I get how important he is to the overall MCU, but let that shit go, dog. Let that shit go. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to take any like jobs from white men, because I mean, Doctor Doom is that, but like, we can race swap Doctor Doom. We can gender swap Doctor Doom. Ain't nobody tripping off of that. But they picked Robert Downey Jr.? Like, that's weird, dog. Y'all are like literally admitting that y'all can't do shit without him. But it ain't even the same him. It's him as a different character. And who says that's gonna hit? I don't know, bro. Then what happens when old Avengers see him as Doctor Doom? Are they gonna react to that? I don't know. I just feel like it could have been someone else. That's just me. Like, when I saw it, it didn't make me think, oh my God, this is amazing. Not one time. Not one time. Come on, Marvel, tighten up. Tighten up. At this point, we may need to roll off the superhero movies. Are y'all not ready for that next phase of Hollywood? I don't know what kind of movies they're gonna be. But what kind of movies we gonna go to next to go ahead and fund and oversaturate the market with? Good horror movies? Let's do that one. Oh no, bro. On Letterboxd, I gave it a 3.5 stars, and that half a star was kind of like Deadpool. I'm talking about. I gave it 3.5 stars, and that half a star was charity. Yeah, man, as a fan of Marvel, I really enjoyed all of the fan service. I really enjoyed all the things. I enjoyed all the cameos. I enjoyed all the things that were from the Fox universe. And I enjoyed the after stinger, which again was a nice little, nod to the Fox universe. I don't care about that movie though. Like, nothing in it was like, damn, this is a culture shifting moment. To me, at least. I don't know. I mean, I get why a lot of other people like it. But I kind of think a little bit of it is glazing. Just a little bit. Just un poquito. Un poquito. That's me, though. That's me. So, if you guys are new here, my name is CapnTrippz. What you hating on? I was just saying Deadpool and Wolverine was kind of just okay. Just okay. My name is CapnTrippz. I am a variety content creator. We play story mode, single player story mode games here. We're currently playing through Majora's Mask, and we'll get back to that next week. At the end of every month, I like to kind of like round up some of the news stories from that month and talk about them. July was a very busy month. July was super busy. So we're gonna get into that in a minute, man. Just go ahead and pull up a seat. Make sure you've eaten. And Dio, how are you doing, dog? Hope you're doing well. Make sure y'all got some hydration. Everything. You said Krispy Kreme. Now I want donuts, brother. I should really get my mind off of spending money. I am no longer in Austin, Texas, and I am no longer doing what I need to do to survive. I need to sit my ass down now, brother. Please let me alone. What up, Nessa? How we doing? So yeah, man. At the end of every month, we like to talk about like 5 or so news stories, just to kind of wrap up the month before. So we are tied. My pocket's tied, but Father stretched these bands. That's all I'm gonna ask. July was pretty busy, man. July was pretty busy. So we're about to go and talk about that right now. So the first news story I got for y'all. This just happened, but it seems like it got lost in everything else that was going on, because a lot of shit was going on, man. I am going to turn this off as well, because that is over. All right. Global IT chaos persists as CrowdStrike boss admits outage could take time to fix. So even this was a couple days after the original issue. Back to this rat race trying to find a new track. Hey, don't let them tell you out where you out, girl. So woke up, I think it was a Friday, and just mad shit was going on. It remains a little unclear exactly what caused the global IT outage that grounded thousands of flights, stalled banking and healthcare services, and badly hit other sectors today. I should make this bigger. While there are signs of the chaos lifting, the question over quite how long the impacts persist remains. CrowdStrike says it could take some time. So this is all they had? How a single IT update caused global havoc. There we go. There we go. There we go. A single update pushed out from an antivirus company in the US has managed to cause global havoc today. It's being described as the biggest outage ever. And while there's been a few lately, it's certainly hard to recall something that has taken out as many services and companies across the world as this one has. I stopped updating my list of brands reporting issues within an hour of starting because there were simply so many names to keep track of. You may have never heard of the antivirus firm Crowdstrike, but it's something it did to its virus scanner Falcon had a very adverse effect on computers running Windows softwares in the millions. Blue screens of death were reported worldwide. You probably don't need me to tell you what that is. It's probably a blue screen of death. Microsoft was quick to say it was a third-party issue. In other words, not its fault. Apple and Linux users unaffected rejoice. Crowdstrike says it now has fixed a issue to fix, but several IT contacts told me every single machine in their organizations will require a manual reboot in safe mode, and some of those devices are likely more physically accessible than others. So I want them to talk about all the companies that were involved. We're talking about airports, flights hit everywhere. We're talking about the UK right now. Disruption to healthcare, transport, and banking. General physicians have been struggling to access their record systems, which include online bookings. Pharmacy services, such as access to prescriptions, have also been affected. The disruption has also led to long queues at airports and knocked some TV channels off air. Sheesh. So it impacted the national healthcare systems. Like we said, the airports all around the world. Delta is still dealing with a lot of the issues coming out of the CrowdStrike thing. Even last week when we were leaving for DreamCon, there were a lot of issues because people had flights canceled. People had flights delayed and canceled ultimately because of CrowdStrike issues. Delta said that this happened mid-month and it's still affecting them to the tune of $500 million and harm to their brand. And honestly, if y'all look at all of the airlines, Delta usually ekes out either 1 or 2 in people's satisfaction ratings. That is getting fucked up right now because Delta is being ravaged. I'm talking flights being canceled, but bags ending up where they were supposed to be, and vice versa. Flights making it, but the bags not. So people having to deal with a whole bunch of shit when it comes down to this CrowdStrike IT issue. It's apparently been fixed, but who knows, man? Who knows? That's a lot, bro. Travel's already so damn stressful. And now imagine you get to the airport one Friday morning and everything is upside down. Why? Who the fuck knows? And the thing about it is, I woke up that day and I was reading this and I'm like, oh, it's Mr. Robot. Mr. Robot is doing this. And no, it wasn't Mr. Robot, but I kind of feel like y'all need to be hacking these credit services, man. Give everybody goddamn A+ S rank credit. Hack the planet. Hack the planet. SAG-AFTRA members who work on video games go on strike. Now this is a newer update because, you know, there were discussions going on. Was that this year or was that last year, the strike? I feel like the strike was last year. Was it? I don't even fucking remember, bro. It's so much going on. Anyway, there was so much going on last year with the actors strike and the writers strike, but they warned us that this was coming down the pipeline. This was a couple days ago. SAG-AFTRA National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator Duncan Crabtree, Ireland, acting under the authority delegated by the SAG-AFTRA National Board and with the unanimous advice and counsel of the Interactive Media Agreement Negotiation Committee, called a strike of the Interactive Media Agreement effective July 26 at 12:01 a.m. They voted to strike. Comes after more than a year and a half of negotiations without a deal. The convenience bargaining group with whom SAG-AFTRA is negotiating includes Activision, Blind Light, Disney Character Voices, Electronic Arts, Formosa Interactive, Insomniac Games, Llama Productions, Take-Two Productions, VoiceWorks Productions, and Warner Brothers Game Inc. Any game looking to employ SAG-AFTRA talent to perform covered work must sign onto the new Tiered Budget Independent Interactive Media Agreement, the Interim Interactive Media Agreement, or the Interim Interactive Localization Agreement. These agreements offer critical AI protections for members. Negotiations began in October 22. And on September 24th, 23, SAG-AFTRA members approved a video game strike authorization with 98.32% yes vote. Although agreements have been reached on many issues important to SAG-AFTRA members, the employers refuse to plainly affirm in clear and enforceable language that they will protect all performers covered by this contract with their AI language. What up, Nits? Fran Drescher says, we're not going to consent to a contract that allows companies to abuse AI to the detriment of our members. Enough is enough. When these companies get serious about offering an agreement our members can live and work with, we will be here ready to negotiate. Well, if she can do this for the video game actors, why she ain't doing it for the regular actors? Anyway. So they want fair compensation and the right of informed consent for the AI use of their faces, voices, and bodies. And I think that's becoming a thing we're hearing over and over again in these situations. They want to use AI to copy niggas' faces, voices, and bodies and use them to work for them forever. What up, Nemo? Why? It's just greed, bro. That's the only thing you can say. It's just greed. Imagine if you only had to pay an actor for a single day. Just scan everything that day and then have Tom Cruise working for you forever. See, the thing about that is we know how all this goes. Like, companies, corporations make dumb decisions. We were just talking about like Marvel and everything a little bit earlier. And I have to just be honest with y'all, bro. Like Warner Brothers, whatever's happening at Warner Brothers, that motherfucker is evil. Because there's art that they've made that he's like, nah, we just not putting that out because it's gonna earn us more money not being out than it is gonna be being out. So imagine we have this AI equipment, and imagine there's a young Tom Hanks, and they scan all of Tom Hanks' image, voice, likeness, all that. For sure, they would make movies with that Tom Hanks model, right? We would possibly get a Forrest Gump. But if we got a Forrest Gump, we would 100% get a Forrest Gump 2, which is completely unnecessary. Like, think about that. You have the ability to basically enslave an act, like, and then that's the thing about it. I've watched Severance now, so all of this is super wild to me because it's like the same thing, bro. You got this fucking model you can just put and plug into anything. That's how you get like Tom Cruise in snuff films, but they're like, all right, don't worry about it, it's not Tom Cruise, it's AI Tom Cruise. What up, Sonny? Happy Wednesday. We've seen it with Supermassive Games. They use Stormy Jazzy's model in 80% of their games and she didn't get royalties. Damn. I did not know about that. That's crazy as shit. And especially when these companies go through the length, all the trouble of scanning your exact face, your exact image, your exact voice. Like all of them you mean to tell me like all them actors that have been in like them Dark Pictures films, like games, them niggas trapped in the Matrix forever? Sheesh. 80% is nuts. She got paid for one day and ate a stale ass donut, but still working. Like, I feel like there's ethics issues that go along with this. The guy from Back to the Future is sued for that very reason. Viola. So are we talking about Crispin Glover? Is that who we talking about? That's so crazy, dog. Wow. Now that you said that, I do think I recall that being a part of the lore. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. Back to the Future is like one of my favorite trilogies of all time. And they were just like, well, we had his image there, and we just used scraps from it to facilitate him. And his face molds from the first one. That's crazy. That's what's up. That's what's up, Viola. Thanks for chiming in. You know that one black woman that's used in a ton of the Supermassive game? She just keeps popping up. They use her scan but hire different voice actresses. It's super weird. Kind of like some blackface. I'm sorry. That's similar to the Silent Hill 2 issue where James Sunderland's voice actor thought they should get royalties for remasters and re-releases. Now, 100%. Oh, now that you've said the name, I know who you mean. Fleece. Wow. I thought she just signed the contract and was like, I love to do these. But no, see, look, hell nah. Hey, man, y'all have now convinced me that I am avoiding all face scans when I get on a flight. Y'all not gonna put me in no goddamn video game. I'll tell you that right now. Or any kind of other found footage. They'll put your boy in the Matrix. Have you out here looking like enemy of the state. They didn't even rehire the voice actors for the remakes. That's shitty. That's super shitty. Well, man, you know us, man. We always on the side of the actors and the people out here grinding and getting it, man. We're always on workers' sides. So fuck AI and fuck the game studios that are making these people sign their lives away. We got all this shit happening in this conflict that's continuing to go on ever since October. I'm gonna keep it light today because I know we usually kind of get into the nitty gritty when it comes down to this conflict. This past weekend was very fucky when it comes down to overall just stability in the region. It's getting weird. They assassinated a Hezbollah commander in Beirut. That's not their land. They assassinated the head of the Hamas political arm in Iran. That's not their country. And then I believe the United States hit somebody in Iraq. And all this is going on in the background of the Olympics that Israel is still allowed to participate in. You know, back in the day with the Olympics, they actually made people call off conflicts before they actually did the Olympics. That was back in the day. Now it is a distraction, right? And also, like, the fact of, I want y'all to also know this about the Olympics. If you're watching it here in America, why are we watching it with commercials, bro? You know, they don't be watching it with commercials in other countries. But we gotta sell some shit. It's just escalating, man. It's just escalating. I do want to warn y'all, we are getting into a little bit of it's about to get deep. Let's get serious. If we're looking at all of this, I always want to go back to these numbers here. There's been at least 39,445 people killed in Gaza, including more than 15,000 children. More than 91,000 people have been injured, and more than 10,000 are missing. In West Bank, almost 600 people have died, including 144 children, and more than 5,000 people have been injured. Reminder, the West Bank didn't have anything to do with October 7th, so. Craziness abroad, and as we return home, craziness here. I'm not gonna watch this video. I'm probably never gonna watch this video, and I will never make y'all watch any video of anyone getting executed live and direct on video. I don't know, man. In my adult life, it's just been a regular thing since like Mike Brown. If you ain't seeing somebody being murdered, seeing somebody dead, and though death is natural, these deaths aren't natural, and it becomes eerie to have to look at people who look like you dead on the ground over some shit that shouldn't have happened. And when we talk about Sonya Massey, we have to talk about everything that transpired through that lens. She called the police to report a suspected prowler outside her home. She was looking for protection from the police, you know, protect and serve and all that they be talking about, right? She was murdered by the police in her home. It was so bad, dog. Like, this whole case was so bad that I have a friend who does not fuck with a lot of the stuff that be going on. He's like actively does not want to see a lot of the negative news coming out. It was so bad that he was like, have you heard of this? And like, yeah, man, I heard it's bad. And you know, we were talking about it, and it just like, it transcends a lot of barriers for people, because who doesn't want to be safe in their home? You know, a lot of people will, you know, troll and ski. Well, this person had to do something to make this happen. The video comes out and It's so bad the police don't even wait for the video to go ahead and fire him. He's been charged. But it's so bad that they had to be like, nah, we need to get this nigga right now before people even see the video, so they know that this ain't got shit to do with us. And they don't really do that, bro. They don't do that at all. So it had to be especially egregious. And it's really bad when you consider the officer's history. He'll just move to another police force. Thank you for saying that, Dio, because that's kind of like, that gets us into what's going on. Grayson is a 30-year-old white officer whose career included brief roles as a part-time officer in 3 small police departments and a full-time position in a 4th department, alongside 2 full-time roles at 2 sheriff's offices, all in central Illinois. Grayson has changed jobs 6 times since 2020, according to a report by CNN. It is not clear why he changed jobs so frequently. Hold on. 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024. How are you able as a police officer to change your job more times than there are years in this decade? And they feel good giving you a badge and a gun and saying, hey, you need to go do work on behalf of our city and our citizens. After the shooting, he pleaded not guilty to first-degree murder, but was fired by the Sangamon County Sheriff's Office. And Dio, I know what you're referring to, because this month, since we're on this subject, one of the police officers who killed Tamir got a job and was fired the next day as soon as they got negative reaction to his hiring. Because you can just move somewhere else and say, hey, I was a police officer, and they'll be like, oh, here's a police officer job. The police union has to stop defending his job. I think they have to from an optics standpoint, but let's not sit here and act like the police union themselves hide behind law enforcement being their industry and have done and said some heinous things themselves. The Fraternal Order of Police had a song about Mike Brown. It's ugliness all throughout this. Police is a gang. You're right, Nemo. So she had been diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia. But here, she was said to be calm, possibly unwell, but she was non-aggressive. While one deputy was searching outside her home, this fuckbag entered her house, followed shortly by another officer, and then they can be observed talking with her inside her home. For a while, they interrogate Massey and ask for her ID. They notice a pot of boiling water on the stove, prompting Massey to stand and move to the kitchen to turn off the heat. We don't need a fire while we're here, one deputy says. None of them seems to have any problem with her going over to the pot, get the pot. When she grabs the pot of boiling water, they start moving away from her. She asks them where they are going. Away from your hot, steaming water, one officer says. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, she answers. Huh? The deputy says. I rebuke you in the name of Jesus, she repeats. You better fuck not, or I swear to God, I'll fucking shoot you in the fucking face, he says, before he does so. Yeah, man. This is bad, bro. What's going on, Lola? Lola, I really just want to take a moment and give you your flowers. Graduation photos look so nice. Can everybody stop for a moment and give Lola the love and she deserves? Come on. Lola, we were in, when you came in, we were talking about something pretty heavy, and I needed to be able to pivot from that to loving on you, because that's what if you need to do that stuff, that's what we need to do. We gotta offset the bullshit with real shit. So let's celebrate our loved ones. Let's love on our loved ones, because this shit out here is crazy, bro. This shit out here is crazy. It's wild. It's so bad, Al Jazeera can ask, has anything improved since the killing of George Floyd in 2020? And like, contextually, when you really look at it, no. And so then when this happens, and then you see stuff like this,
so Sonya Massey, someone from Illinois, an unarmed black woman, was shot the other day in her home by a deputy sheriff. The deputy has since been charged with murder. You've said police would get immunity for prosecution if you win. Why should someone like that officer have immunity, in your opinion?
Immunity?
Immunity.
I don't know the exact case, but I saw something, and it didn't look good to me. It didn't look good to me. Are you talking with the water, right?
Yeah, well, police unions are not backing this person either.
Okay.
But again, why would...
They're going to be charging the officer. I guess they're charging the officer.
So why should he receive immunity?
Well, he might not. I mean, it depends. It depends on what happens. I'm talking...
So Sonya Massey, someone from Illinois...
So then y'all boys... And we're going to talk about this. We're definitely going to get into this. But if y'all didn't know, Trump spoke today at the National Association for Black Journalists, which extended an invitation to Donald Trump to come talk to journalists from around the country that are black, that were there at the conference. He accepted it. He went. And his answer to what we just read through and talked about was, I don't know if I would give him immunity. Maybe. Possibly. Because it's his whole thing. Immunity for cops. For shit like that. For shit like this. He says, there's a big difference between being a bad person and making an innocent mistake. But if somebody made an innocent mistake, I would want to help that person. Why did they invite him? I will say, because I know black journalists myself, they themselves were asking the same question. Why is he there? Long story short, and this is all I can tell y'all because I ain't got shit to do with me or us, right? Is there is a generational divide within that organization as well. And there are some respectability politics at play in it. And people really are jumping at any opportunity to, we're going to be the ones to hold them accountable. Because they were like, we're going to have fact checkers and everything. And a nigga got there and he said, if y'all have these motherfuckers fact check me while I'm on the stage, I'm not going on. So do you either want me or the truth? And they said, we want you. So I got to go up there and say stuff, and journalists in the crowd pushed back. There were some people who called out, things that were false, because he got out there and was saying some wild shit. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. But we have to talk about everything that has gone down around this guy. Was it the end of June? I think it was the end of June, maybe early July, when they had the debate. Now, the debate happened and Joe Biden did not do well during that debate. That's a fact. We all saw it. We saw clips about it. He sounded kind of shaky, but they said he had a cold. So that was the thing. He had a cold. But then the cold and the performance made people like, oh, he's old. He shouldn't be running for president being this old. The nigga was this old the entire time, bro. He was that old the entire time. They weren't close enough. Okay, cool. Then he comes out and says, hey, I know I had a bad performance the other night. I'm gonna come out and do a speech. And in my speech, I want y'all to hear me clearly, because it ain't gonna be no shakiness in my voice. He came out and he called Kamala Trump. And then they was like, oh, wait, this nigga is old. But he been that old the entire time. He been that old the entire time. And then the nigga gets COVID while he's actively campaigning in a lot of places without a mask at a time that COVID is resurging. Just because we're not talking about COVID resurging does not mean that COVID is not resurging. Y'all should all know that COVID is resurging. So like, you're moving and grooving, you do all this without a mask, and you have to show the people that there's no fear of COVID, and you get COVID during the middle of your campaign. And now you an 80-something-year-old man with COVID, and you already looking shaky in the light. Niggas are concerned because this nigga's old. But he been that old the entire time. So like, for me, it was really interesting seeing the war chants for his retirement, for him backing out of the race, increase. Like, yeah, the next day after the debate, when I saw it, I like, yep, that's right on time. To be honest with you, they're starting that up, but it, to me, again, was too late, bro. There's no way he could have been and should have been sitting here this entire 4 years thinking about, oh, I'm gonna run again. I know he originally said that he was only gonna be a one-term president, but you know how ambition is. You know how ambition is. You get in there, you get comfortable, you want to go again. All right, I can go again. All right, bet. When that nigga got that COVID though, he had to go in the hiding and sit down, and then you start seeing all these articles about Nancy Pelosi thinks that we should find someone else. That bitch is not working no more. Why are we listening to anything Nancy Pelosi says? She retired. She's not a factor no more. Fucking, oh, Chuck Schumer has expressed concerns. Nigga, you just as old. But when them niggas said Obama has had some concerns, I said, oh, they trying to do that boy something dirty. Went home, because this was the weekend before DreamCon. This was last weekend. Went home. But like, man, ain't no way. This nigga said he ain't back out the race, dog, and it would be dumb for you to do so. I'm driving home. I stopped to get gas. I look at my text messages and somebody said, Biden backed out. I went to Twitter and seen this. My fellow Americans, over the past 3.5 years, we made great progress as a nation. Some would say otherwise. Today, America has the strongest economy in the world. Whatever. I hate when niggas talk about the economy because they don't actually mean like, hey, niggas is working, they can afford life and they're happy. They actually just mean stocks are up. We've made historic investments in rebuilding our nation, in lowering prescription drug costs for seniors. Yep, they did do that. And expanded affordable health care to a record number of Americans. We provided critically needed care to 1 million veterans exposed to toxic subs. Like when niggas started naming everything they did, passed first gun safety law in 30 years, appointed first African-American woman to the Supreme Court, passed the most significant climate legislation in the history of the world. America's never been better positioned to lead than we are today. I know none of this could have been done without you, the American people. Together we overcame a once-in-a-century pandemic and the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression. We protected and preserved our democracy, and we revitalized and strengthened our alliances around the world. It's been the greatest honor of my life to serve as your president, and while it has been my intention to seek re-election, I believe it is the best interests of my party and the country for me to stand down and to focus solely on fulfilling my duties as president for the remainder of my term. I will speak to the nation later this week in more detail about my decision. For now, let me express my deepest gratitude to all that have worked so hard to see me reelected. I want to thank Vice President Kamala Harris for being an extraordinary partner in all this work. And let me express my heartfelt appreciation to the American people for the faith and trust you have placed in me. I believe today that what I always have, that there is nothing America can't do when we do it together. We just have to remember that we are the United States of America. So Ace, they have to talk about the economy in ways that cloud us from understanding that the people that they are helping are not actual individual citizens that are Americans. They are the corporations that are here in America who are now considered people because of Citizens United. So the economy doing well doesn't mean that people can afford the groceries that they need to buy. It just means that companies can afford to lay thousands of people off, buy back their own stock, which increases the value for their current investors, their board of, advisors or whatever you want to call it, and the CEO and president. Those people are all doing well, and those are the people that they mean. This is a company. This is a country company, a company. And so things that are done are not just done in a vacuum, right? So he goes on this later this same week and he endorses Kamala Harris to be his successor and the Democratic nominee for president. And so doing that, and then delegates getting behind her to the point where basically as they head into the national convention, that they are by chance just so happening a little bit later than they usually would, that there won't be any drama or pushback. It'll just be unanimous. Everybody get behind Kamala, and we're 100 days from the election, so we gotta galvanize and rally behind Kamala in order to make sure Democrats win, because Democrats are the good team, and no matter who's up to bat, we're gonna go and do what we need to do to save America. That sounds amazing. I can't think of a time in modern history where America had an opportunity to come together and band together to save the world. I can't think of a chance there was, like, if people were to, like, I don't know, actively do something that was outside of the realm of what they were comfortable with, and they were tasked with just doing like minor things that would add up to something big that would change the world in a positive way. But we just had the pandemic, and people did not want to do that. And actually, people actually regret. I feel like people regressed during the pandemic, socially, mentally, because it ain't adding up. And it's a lot of stuff that's happening now that I just feel like, were we always like this before the pandemic? And I don't know. I really don't know. It's a lot of hurdles this lady got to get over. No. Damn, how do I want to address it? Okay, so let's go surface level. It's a lot of hurdles that this lady wants to get over, needs to get over. She would become the first woman president, which is a big thing for this country. She would become the second black president, which is a huge hurdle to get over, because after the first black president, they elected a nigga president, and that was wild. America is like dolphins. Dolphins are like beautiful. If you were a Lisa Frank girl, you probably had dolphins on every folder you ever had. Nice, vibrant dolphins jumping out of the water. A picture of grace, beauty. But as I've long said, nigga, dolphins ain't what you think. Dolphins are fucking sick, sadistic fucks. They SA people. They have SA caves to SA dead animals. Dolphins ain't what you think, and neither is America. If y'all think it's gonna be easy, it won't. It won't. It's gonna be a lot of people who show their true colors in that voting booth. And honestly, the really interesting thing about it is it's already kind of actually playing out the way it needs to. Because peep gang, immediately after the announcement was made, the AKAs and like 40,000 black women hopped on a call and raised hella money for Kamala. A day or two later, the brothers, black men for Kamala, got on the phone and raised a couple $1 million for Kamala. Just this past weekend, white dudes got on the phone and raised a couple million for Kamala. Where's the white women for Kamala call? When is that gonna happen? And that is why I'm going to be white women did it before the white dudes. Okay, cool. Thank you, Dio, for keeping me honest. Shout out to you, brother. They got on a whites only Zoom. What? I hope it wasn't called a whites only Zoom call. I hope it wasn't called that. Niggas got a whites only Zoom call to support the black presidential candidate. That's fucking hilarious, dog. Okay, cool. But that's my concern. It's that demographic specifically that I don't know, bro. I don't know. Let me say it that way. I don't know. I was reading this article unrelated to all this earlier this month where they were talking about basically black women's experience in the workplace. And they said, hey, white women are not allies to us in any way, shape, or form. You think it is, but it ain't. And that's a thing that I think has reverberated throughout a lot of interactions in history in a lot of different ways. And so even Hillary, them white ladies was like, no. You ain't gonna talk about our white men like that. So I'm interested to see what it's gonna be hitting on this time around. I want to be proven wrong, and I want it to be like such a landslide victory for her. But then again, once we get onto that end, there's the other side of my issue. All right, so everything I just said, let's not even think about it no more. Let's scrape that off the table. Y'all don't think it's weird that Joe Biden been old since we've been born, and now they concerned about him being old in the last 100 days before the election? That's not weird to nobody else. Like, to have everybody come out against you to push you out of the presidential race, that's unfucking heard of. No one has ever, that's never happened to anybody in the history of the world, ever. And it happened to Joe Biden 100 days before the election. They only care because there's the no. Walk with me, Lola. All right, bet this. In a perfect world, right? He's old and there's proof. Cool, that's all true. But follow me with this thought exercise. So in a perfect world, when he got elected and got into office, the nigga was still old. And what should have happened at that point in time was the entire Democratic Party having their younger politicians come out with their own platforms, ideals, and values. Right? This is where you start seeing different politicians making speeches at different high-level events. Right? You have a Democratic National Party that usually, when you have this convention party, is earlier in the year. You have a whole bunch of rising stars speak at your Democratic National Convention to catch the eyes of everyone. But there's supposed to be basically farm systems all over the country. Every local election where y'all send someone to be a senator or a Congress person, that person is essentially auditioning for higher office at some point in time, if their ambition is what it need to be. If y'all remember correctly, we voted Obama in 2008, but if you go back to 2004, he was speaking at the Democratic National Convention and getting that national spotlight. You get the younger person, you put them through the farm club, and you have them kind of come out to the point where by the time we are running for 2024 and Biden's saying, hey, I'm not gonna run, it should be like 3, 4, 5 niggas out there saying, I'm going and I'm gonna be the Democratic candidate for president. And what should happen is a primary system. But if you remember correctly, niggas was like, no, we're not gonna primary him, because if he say he wanna run again, we just gonna bow down and kiss the ring. He was old then. So what you have now, right, is a Democratic National Party who was essentially able to sidestep what would have been a fucking civil war. Follow me. The Democratic Party is in fucking shambles. It is on fire. It is in the last stages of the power system it currently holds right now, because most young people identify as Democrat, but they are way more progressive than the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is actually quite conservative, because the right pulls us over to the right, and the left, all they gotta do is just be on the left of that right. But if we get more conservative, even if you are on the left of that right, you're a conservative left. You're maybe a centrist. We've been shifting right for ages. And with every Democratic president, we see the counterpoints. They make a whole big show about they're doing this to offset the things the big bad meanies are doing to y'all. But them niggas are also benefiting from the rules that are changing because the big mad meanies are moving the rules. Let's get it together. Obama was the first black president, and that carries a lot of weight. What carries more weight to me is that nigga, drone strikes, niggas being killed, Call of Duty style, halfway across the world, changed the warscape. But, you know, Obamacare. So we're looking over here, but over here is where the party's happening. So this year, or not this year, last year, it should have started in 2022. We should have had an Elizabeth Warren, a Bernie Sanders if his old ass gonna run again, and 3 younger Democrats become these pillars of, oh, they are going to run against each other, and as a party, we are going to decide where our values lie because we'll vote for the person that best represents those. And if Kamala wanted to be a part of that, she would have been a part of that, but it's not a sure shot. But what you have happening here is this nigga being old, which was a thing. Yeah, both of them are too old, but I would give it Elizabeth Warren. I've been in an Elizabeth Warren head since 2007, so don't even. Anyway, we were able to sidestep all that. So now there's no choice. You only have one person to hurry up and get behind to support because the big bad meanies are coming. And not to belittle it, because them niggas got some fucked up plans, and it is obvious we need to defeat them. But it's not a we them thing. It's a they, because they are them. But we aren't we. And what would have happened in that system where, okay, cool, we're gonna do it the right way and we're gonna let the party decide its politics. The youth vote and just where we are politically is so different from them. It would have, that Bernie thing was really a turning point because they literally had all these people behind this dude, and he was old even then. We get it. But then they said, nah, we not gonna do that, and we gonna cheat for her, and then they lost. So they are willing to do that. They are willing to pull the levers however they need to control the narrative of this is what the party stands for, and not give the next generation, which is literally chomping at the bit and waiting to have space and time and opportunity to do all these progressive things. They gotta wait another 4 to 8 years to get where they should have been this year. You know, you see what I'm saying? So like, I just think that's an interesting play, but it was a play they felt they needed to make, because if they were concerned about his age in July because the nigga caught COVID or a cold and was saying wild shit at the debate, he been doing the shit like that, bro. That nigga was falling, bro. That nigga was falling and hurting himself. And y'all didn't think not one moment, maybe he gonna be too old to run for president in 2024. Maybe we should be having conversations with the young people who are actually gonna vote and get their support. And that was before October 7th. It's a lot going on, man. And the thing about it is, the play that's happening is not the play that is in action. That's how I look at it. And I can even say that about the assassination attempt. Look at that nigga ear now. And ask yourself, if you got shot anywhere 2 weeks ago, if your ear would look like his ear look now. Why the fuck the FBI want to talk to you about whether you're being honest about getting shot in the first place? He was never shot. They were saying on the day of that it was a ricochet from the teleprompter getting shot, and then that teleprompter piece getting them. But hell, I watched wrestling back in the day. How do we know when the nigga was on the bottom of all the goddamn Secret Service agents, he ain't pull out a razor and just cut his ear a little bit? The shooter wasn't aiming at him. Who the fuck was he aiming at? The firefighter dude? What did he ever do to you? What? What? Huh? What happened with them? Nah, are you being serious? Cause look, I'm deep down the rabbit hole. Please don't do this. Cause I think you for being for real. I'm thinking, damn, did the firefighter molest the kid or something like that? Like, what the fuck is going on? All I'm saying is, if he would have had the glasses that they use in the Olympics, so yeah, anyway, getting back to what we're saying. I mean, obviously it's the direction that we're gonna go in. So we have a binary choice here in the world. And it's just weird that we still dealing with this binary system, because politics is so much more than that, bro. It's a spectrum. And, you know, just in the way that there are a lot of black conservatives that would probably be a lot more openly Republican if Republicans weren't racist, the racists could have their own party and just be racist. And then there could be like conservatives, and then there could be like people who are like socially not weird, but like also fiscally conservative. And then there could be people who are socially not weird and like not conservative. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It should be a lot more. We should have like 5 to 6 big parties and then smaller parties. Y'all gonna vote in your local elections, right? So it's like all the same thing. So like, it's the one day you go and vote for everything, and it's like, damn, dog, I wish I could not vote for this dumb shit, but you know, we got to do what we got to do right now to make sure that they don't strip the Department of Education away. But no matter who won or who wins, both parties would benefit from that, bro. Like the boys was a lot much more on the nose than and that postal vote shit, dial, that's the main shit they want to stamp out right now, bro. Like keeping it jiggy with you. Anything about informing you or making things easy for you to vote, they are stamping out. Ace, you better, man, get the fuck out of here, bro. Your job doesn't allow you to lead the nigga. Fuck, I'm not going in until I do vote, bitch. It's the voting day, ho. They're gonna vote. They're gonna vote, and they're gonna vote for some shit that's not gonna benefit you in the right way. You better make sure your ass vote. I can't tell you what to do. I'm sorry. That's something I gotta stop doing. I can't tell you what to do or what decisions to make. But there are options. So yeah, also going back to Donald Trump being allowed to go to the National Association of Black Journalists conference. So their thing, well, my thing is, American media is supposed to offer you both choices. So like if there's ever one presidential candidate somewhere, they're supposed to like at least offer equal time, because it's being broadcast out on like television and shit like that. They have to offer equal time to the other party. So Trump is there. I have been hearing some chatter that they pretty much, you know, reached out and asked Kamala to be there, but she had a prior engagement. If you guys did not know, a very prominent policymaker from Southern California passed away this past weekend. So the funeral is this week. So Kamala was gonna be there regardless, because she has obligations to her constituents and to be everything to everybody. So her team wanted to do a Zoom call. And the NABJ said, nah, sis. Trump is gonna be here, so you gotta be here. And she said, well, I can't be there because I'll be somewhere else. So I guess, can we send a surrogate? And they said, nah, it gotta be you. Only for them to get this man on the stage and him to do the dumbest shit. He questions whether or not she's Indian or black in heated interview. Speaking on Wednesday at the annual gathering of the National Association of Black Journalists, Trump said that he had indirectly known the U.S. vice president for a long time. She was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or black? I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't. If y'all ever just known a nigga to lie and be talking to you about just anything and say anything to you, that motherfucker is that type of person, bro. He is that type of person. This nigga literally said, hey, dog, she was Indian to me, but I guess she turned black. That's the thing you could do these days. And he's saying it to a room full of black people. Like, he's able to convince them, be like, you know what? She did say she was Indian, and now she's trying to be black. Obviously, the AKA shit and going to Howard is fake, but like, how dare she be black now? She could just be black. This guy, I'm with this guy. That is a talking point among black Twitter, though. So that tells you where the fuck he getting his information from. Look at this shit.
About some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true.
This is basically the opening remarks.
Who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question.
So y'all not getting no sound.
So, in such a horrible manner, first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you?
About some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true.
Okay, I'll turn it up.
You told 4 congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe black district attorneys. You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking,
I wouldn't even call that nigga sir.
Vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question.
Now, peep game. When she was naming things, one of the things she named was specifically, you take questions from black journalists and call them stupid. And he does this immediately to her.
Voters trust you after you have used language like that.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever...
You've attacked black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist. You've had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So my question, sir, now that you are asking black supporters to vote for you, why should black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question so in such a horrible manner. First question.
First thing he does.
Say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network.
And who are these people clapping? This is the National Association of Black Journalists.
I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina, which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. I've done so much, and you know, and I say this, historically black colleges and universities.
Boy, that's the one thing he keep on touting when he made them presidents dance for that money that one time.
Gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that.
Ace said it was conservatives in there supporting him.
I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, you know, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something was wrong.
I would love you to answer.
So I also want to zone in on that because that one really rubbed me the wrong way, dog. This nigga says we were a half hour late, and he blames it on the National Association of Black Journalists. Do y'all see? Do y'all see that play? We were late because of the National Association of Black Journalists couldn't get their shit together. When in actuality, it was like I was saying earlier, he was having a standoff with these people. He was basically telling them behind the scenes, because they planned on having fact checkers. I don't know if y'all remember the debate. CNN was supposed to fact check shit, and they did not fact check shit. No one knew why. He comes to them with this appearance and says to them, when he gets there, not anytime before, but when he gets there, he says to them, you guys planned on having fact checkers. I will not be here if you guys fact check me. So either you get rid of the fact checkers or you get rid of me. He's obviously on the stage. The NABJ obviously capitulated to what he wanted to do. And he was having this standoff with them and is now positioning it as the niggas couldn't get their shit together. So that's why we're late. Trump thought, let me say some more wild stuff for next time. But
Very nasty question. I have answered the question. I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer. That's my answer. For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
Let me just ask a follow-up, sir, and then we'll move on to other questions here.
he's courting that vote, but talking down to these people.
Republicans on Capitol Hill have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define
Diversity, equity, and inclusion?
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is
Give me a
literally the
definition then.
words.
Would you give me a definition? Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question.
You have to define it.
Oh, man, I love
I
us.
just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President
I love
Kamala Harris
us.
is only on the ticket because she is a black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly very much. And she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn black, and now she wants to be known as black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she black?
She is always
But you know
identified
what?
as a black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do you
And I
believe that she
think
is...
somebody should look into that too when you continue in a very hostile, nasty tone.
It's a direct question, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is a DEI hire, as some
I really
Republicans have
don't know.
said?
I mean, I really don't know. Could be. There are some, and there are plenty. I know this lady right over there, Harris, is a fantastic person who just interviewed me at length, and we had a great interview, I think, and I heard you got very good ratings on that.
When you told me it was the longest one of your life, live, so we had a good discussion. Look, I want
Man, if you don't sit your goddamn uncle ass pistol grip chin down somewhere.
Grip chin ass.
They used him for the views and the attention, and he used them as a campaign platform. A lot of people I know and respect, Teslin Figaro, April Ryan, everyone knew, hey, y'all don't want to do this with him because he's going to use you. And I think that Ace said there were conservatives present. I know from clips that I've seen that they had a conservative news network. It's people I ain't never heard of before, dog. I don't know where these people be coming from with these media companies, but those people were in the room with another angle and are spinning this in an entire win for Trump, that he was able to get on here and shit on people. And it's like, this is what people are cheering for. This is what people are acknowledging should lead this country. That's weird, dog. That's weird, dog. Y'all pimped yourselves out, and to the dismay of many of your members. And I want to know what happens next. I have people I know. I was a journalism undergrad, so I know people who are at this conference, and I want to know what the tenor in the room is on the first day when this shit done happen. Do y'all think this is a win for y'all, where the most that y'all were able to get back as far as pushback was someone in the crowd going, false? But I heard hella people clapping though. And then in a later moment, y'all, the journalist that's interviewing him, he takes her water bottle. And I don't have a water bottle near me, but y'all know it's like when you turn it right, you loosening it up. This nigga turns it left to tighten her water bottle cap to make it harder for her to open it at a later date and time. This is a man-child at best. This is someone who is rich and people want to be like because he is rich, but he's not a good person, and they want a not good person to lead the country. And on the other side, they got it stacked where like the perfect candidate is now running against them, winning in all polls. And it's like, but does she really like represent what people want though for a leader? They don't want to be good. They want to be rich. And when you add in the fact that as Americans, there's a lot of people who do believe that being rich earns you the right to do whatever you want to do. Like it's implicitly understood by Americans that when you have wealth, that you will use that wealth to help you. So like if you do some fucked up shit and pay your way out of it, we just be like, well, that's just the way it is. They're rich. They got money. So yeah. Like, nah, nigga, that money don't mean shit. Stomp them out. Hit them in the head with a bottle. I just think it should be a lot more violence. I don't know. I'm not calling for it or anything. Please don't get me wrong. But hey, we can talk shit about the French, but the French will turn up on your ass, boy, and they'll keep you honest. Well, rich people are not good people. They wouldn't be rich otherwise. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. And I think on that note, that's kind of where we're going to call it tonight, man. This has been the monthly news roundup for July. Before we leave off, are there any stories that I didn't touch on that y'all would like to go into? July's been a lot. whales attacking boats in Boston. The ocean is uprising. That's an ongoing thing. I was watching the Meg like a week ago, and I felt like that shit could happen. That shit could happen. We gonna have creatures from the bottom of the ocean come to the top and say, "Hey, bro, it's hot down here. So if you fuck up my house, I'm fucking up yours." And then that's when the kaiju gonna come. And what we gonna do? Dr. Disrespect is back on Twitter, baby. I didn't care when he was on Twitter in the first place. I didn't care when he was on Twitch. I don't care he on YouTube. I don't really care he back on Twitter neither, because I don't follow him. He coming with all this aggressive energy for niggas saying things about him, and I guess it's this white machismo, but like, whatever, nigga. You was the one texting minors, dog. Like, don't try to get no bass in your voice with nobody now. You've been seeing these videos, the trends of these videos of these niggas going to beat pedophiles up. I don't condone violence. I want to make sure people are safe legally for anything that they are doing. But if niggas got beat up more for being pedophiles, it would be a lot less niggas with bass in their voice being pedophiles. Yeah, man. Hey, man, it's a fucking video, bro. Hold on. It's a video that's an ad that they're going to start running. I don't know, for real.
We want the government involved in all.
Us MAGA Republicans banned abortion, but that's just the start.
That's just the start. If Trump gets elected, we want the government involved in all aspects of your sex life.
Way more involved.
Way more involved.
When you have sexual intercourse, it should be illegal to use contraception. No pills, no condoms.
Your genitals are reserved for procreation.
If you freeze 12 eggs,
hold on.
you
Why
should
did I
be
do
required
that?
to
Why
have
they got that
12
man out here
babies,
with
or
this
else you're a
cold
serial
sore on his
killer.
lip?
And I'm definitely not a serial
Like,
killer.
what the
Are
fuck
you?
is that?
My son monitors my porn usage to make sure I'm not self-pleasuring.
Just like Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. That's true, you can look it up.
Don't you think that's normal?
Yeah, I do.
It's normal for your son to do that.
You should have a family member monitor your porn use too.
Because pleasuring yourself is very, very naughty.
I'm voting in November.
They're demonizing the fuck out of people with cold sores. Like,
November, are you?
Because what happens in your
That's a
bedroom
lot.
is up to me.
Is up to me and my son. Also, mouth stuff is a sin.
no, it's not. Shit. Mouth stuff is a win, baby. What the fuck are you talking about? We gotta get to the polls, guys. They made them creepy on purpose. Yeah, I know that's for real, but it's also weird still. I don't know how many ways I could say, ain't nobody monitoring my porn usage. I refuse. Because you know you got that certain section you go to when you really need to like get there. Like, can't nobody know what's up in there. But anyway, yeah, that's the news for the month of July, man. It's a lot going on, man. Make sure y'all are protecting y'all mental. Do whatever you need to do to decompress, as long as you're keeping yourself safe. It's a lot of craziness out here, man. It's a lot.